So I've received a lot of comments about Torchlight Infinite, and Torchlight Infinite actually at one point reached out to me to try to get me sponsored on their channel, or try to get me on my channel to make a sponsored video, I should say. I chose not to, and then when I chose not to, there suddenly appeared a bunch of bots, not just on my channel, but it seemed like everyone's channel, kind of spamming. No, did you see this game's going to be out in October? Wow, the game you're playing now will be dead. Like, if copy paste the same thing, bunch of people. So I chose to go the route of not promoting this game purely because I don't like it when people spam my comments with bots in order to advertise their shit. It pisses me off. But with that being said, I'm kind of curious about the game, but I wanted to watch a video on it instead of actually promote the game myself because, to be honest, just out of pure pettiness, I don't want to give them free promotion. So what I'm going to do instead is we're going to watch this video I'm curious about. It's the truth about Torchlight Infinite's monetization from someone who isn't sponsored. Now, this is by McFluffin Gaming. This was posted September 6th, so it's a little bit of an older video. I haven't seen this yet. We're going to watch it. I haven't seen really much about Torchlight Infinite, and I probably would have already reviewed this game for free by now, as I did with Undecember, and that video is coming out, except for the things I've already mentioned, which bothered me. So, with that being said, I'm just really curious to see what's going on, and we also have in the comments down below, in the pinned comments as well as in the description, we'll have the original video, so if you choose to just watch him without instead of my commentary, feel free to do it. Let's get going.
So I've got a relatively quick video here for you all today. It's going to be kind of off the cuff. I don't really have anything specifically planned as far as, like, I haven't, I'm not going to edit this or anything. But I just want to talk about Torchlight Immortal. I mean, Torchlight Infinite. Because there's a lot of videos going around right now that claim it's not predatory pay-to-win microtransactions. You've probably seen these.
Yeah.
And I want to make a video because it's absolutely 100% predatory pay-to-win microtransaction. The whole system is, like, littered with it. Like, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't have any of it, but there's some that have it, and it's so excessive that, like, it's not much different than Diablo Immortal, in my opinion. To the point to where I think it's fair for someone to question whether or not the devs just bold-faced lied on this. And
here's what I'm going to say. I've very rarely seen literal spam bot tactics in games before, and they also have been obviously farming on Reddit. Like, there's plenty of accounts that you'll see which pretty much their comments are things like, oh wow, I can't wait till Torchlight Infinite comes out, and they only post in like ARPG subreddits, and then they'll be like, it comes out like October, like I can't, here's the date it comes out, you should search for it on Google. Like, these really kind of very blatant type of bot comments.
It's a real problem for content creators who said these things because, as far as I can tell, what happened is these content creators were paid to do an advertisement, to be sponsored by XD, the creators of Torchlight Infinite, and to say explicitly that there's no predatory pay-to-win / microtransactions, whatever they say. They use predatory specifically. I know that, to say that wasn't in the game. And they had to release these videos. Those all were made before the...
I've done many sponsored videos. I've done some on this channel. I've also done sponsored videos on my other channel. I've done both integrated as well as dedicated. I have never seen a contract that explicitly says we have to say the game is not predatory. I've never seen that.
Latest closed beta test, which isn't really closed, it's really open, but still, the latest CBT that came out, which actually introduced the predatory abusive stuff. So from what I can tell, these content creators got kind of blindsided to where they said something that's categorically untrue, but they said it before even knowing that, or before they could even know that. And
it's even worse than that. I've seen some games that are literal rug pulls that people I know will have sponsored, done a sponsored video on it, and then they're literal actual scams, and the content creator didn't have any idea beforehand, except maybe they could have used intuition to figure out things related to NFTs are often not very good deals. But as a content creator, it can be scary learning when to accept. Like, right now I have a couple sponsorship offers, and I'm debating whether I want to accept them, not even because I feel immoral about it, but because I'm debating if I even want to promote the game. Like, if the game seems like something my fan base would be even interested in. So it can be hard to decide when to take a sponsor, because you have to balance, one, you got to eat, but you got to balance that against, is this a game my audience will even like? Is this a game that is immoral and they're lying to me in some way, etc.? There's all these different ways. I'm playing Diablo Immortal of all the games, so I tend just to stick to, like, if the game's good, I'll cover it, and I try not to get too much into, like, the politics of it, because I feel like that's a route for me to go. I'm not a gamer, I'm a politician, and that's the type of audience that I will garner from doing that kind of content will be different than the kind of content from like playing games and making videos about actual video games. So that's why I tend to just play the games.
I think that's such a terrible thing to do to content creators. Fortunately for me, I wasn't one of the people who was sponsored. I'm not large enough to be anyway. No one really cares that much, which gives me a platform to say exactly what's going on here and not have to worry about it because, no one's paying me not to. So here's how the systems work. There's a couple of there's really three systems in particular that are problematic. We'll start with the worst one, which is the pet system. So the pet system is connected to your pact here. And what it is you put pets in and they both change these stats here, which you can like invest in. So you invest in this and you get, for example, I have 3% XP earned here. I have 4% drops here. I have 50% mana regen here, etc. You put pets in and they can change these categories, but also as you upgrade these pets, they can upgrade the nodes that you invest in. So if I like take off the Explorer Otter here, let's just cancel that pact. You'll see that I have 10% damage here and 20% damage here, and mini damage as well, so on and so forth. If I put the Otter back in, it gives me a new set of nodes. Mana regen.
My initial impression is like pets have always been the way I feel like games sneak in monetization and pay to win. Pets, I mean, ever since Maple Story, I feel like pay to win in MMOs kind of sailed. I think Maple Story might be one of the most obvious pay to win MMOs in the history. And I kind of feel like with things like Black Desert Online, etc., pets, people seem to be willing to pay for pets. People think they're cute. They're adorable, all that, and they start sneaking stats on the pets. That's when, we run into these problems.
We've got maximum life over here, and you can go back and take the original ones too. You can switch, so like you can mix and match. There's a lot of power here. And the pets themselves can be upgraded by finding multiple versions of these pets. So as you get an upgrade reward, it improves the bonuses here. And you get up to, I think, 6 levels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels of this otter. So you can continue to upgrade them until you get all 6. So a lot of power to be had in this system. Estimates are it's about 30% character power in the pet system itself. Now the problem
30%
comes
is a lot
in how you can acquire these pets. So to acquire pets, you have to go to the Boon System.
It's just going to be a pure gacha, right? Like you just pull these.
Which, if you've ever played Genshin Impact, is going to look eerily similar because it is eerily similar to Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact has a gacha system. This is, in fact, a gacha system. That is what this system is. And so what you do is you make pulls, you pull, and you get some pets. So let's just do one here. Let's do a pull. And in doing it, I've acquired, let's see what we got. This guy here, whoever he is, and he's got his own stats.
Whoever he is.
And I can choose to put him in there, and I can get those nodes out of him, or I can choose to keep what I have. And I can keep doing pulls and keep getting more pets, and then I can upgrade them. Now, to get...
I mean, I feel like gachas, for whatever reason, gachas work. People like doing gachas. What's interesting is even me watching this is like, that looks kind of fun. Like, doing some pose seemed kind of fun. I think this is where I felt about Diablo Immortal, which is like they would have made so much more money if the polling system was enjoyable. Like, they literally made in the Elder Rifts here, they made running around the Elder Rifts and getting your legendary crest from, like, pulling your legendary crest here. They made it so boring. Like, so boring compared to like, check this out. Like, you have all these cool icons that are shining everywhere and the sound effects and all that, basically. Like, I know everyone likes to meme on Diablo Immortal for being like the most immoral and predatory ever, but it's like, I mean, look at the difference in these games. Games like Genshin Impact, games like these ones. Like, I've played dozens of gachas, okay? All of them have more dopamine factors in the gacha pose. And honestly, I don't know what they were thinking when they did this here. Like, they could have done this in a way to make way more money, but maybe they're trying not to do that. Maybe they're trying to, like, quell the backlash a little bit, but we're off topic here.
Pets, you need to have legendaries, and legendaries have a 1.5% chance of dropping. This particular pack here is like a starter pack to get you hooked. This is, very much a psychological tactic that will give you one within 30 draws. And then you'll have that legendary. And then you have to get that legendary 5 more times, though, because you have to level it up to, to be level 6 to get the most power out of it. You have to have 3 of these.
It's the worst part of any gacha game, the duplicate system. in every single game I've played, like getting duplicates of something you already had, I haven't seen a game really fix this yet. I feel like Genshin's system was all right, but it's either overtly pay to win where you need so many duplicates because it's basically mandatory. It's what sounds like this guy's saying, because the stats are so important that when you have somebody, they're not really used until they are fully maxed out, which is kind of unfortunate, but I get what he's saying.
To fill, your whole packed system. And of course, you have to have the right ones for your build. And each one of these has a number of them. I believe they all have 3. So that means that you have a 1.5% chance of getting a legendary anytime you pull under normal circumstances, non-Hunter's Journey. And of that, there's a 33% chance that it will be the one you want. So that's, terrible.
It's terrible odds, but the sad part is I'm so conditioned from playing gacha games. I'm like, those odds aren't that bad. 1.5%? Like, that's better than anything I've played.
Really terrible odds. I think it's something like 0.5% chance that you're going to get exactly what you want. And you have to do this 6 times. 6 times to get all of that one pet to maximum. Now you have to do it 2 more times. Okay.
Can you get any of these resources in the game, though? That's important.
Okay. So how hard is it to actually get this? Well, I'm not sure exactly how many pulls you get from playing the game, but it's not all that many. So
this guy answered the question like I've pre-watched this video, but I swear to God, I haven't.
For example, I have 1,200 of this Jagged Primocryst, which I can convert into Insight Crystals. And Insight Crystals can then be used to do a pull. You can also get Insight Crystals in the world, or at least you can get them from like the seasonal pass, which we're gonna talk about here in a minute. So they do drop in the world, but they don't drop that often, but then I can just do this conversion. So I'm like, okay, Jagged Primo Crystal into Insight Crystals is 160 per to 1. Okay. So we get some of these in the world too, but again, they don't drop that often. So right now I have less than 10 pulls worth from playing the game. I've done some pulls before, so I'm not sure the odds, but they're not very good. I can tell you that much. Now, if I don't want to wait to get this stuff by hand, which will take me a very
then you spend money.
Long time to do. This might feel similar to gems in Diablo Immortal because it is.
Yep.
I can also use Primo Crysts. I'm not really sure how to say this. And turn them into Jaggeds. So there's a 1-to-1.
What's with the Primo thing? Isn't this multiple game now with Primo? Is there some? Is this based upon a language? Like, is the concept of Primo some kind of adjective or something from a? Is this some kind of word that I don't understand? I'm American, here. So my concept of languages is terrible.
Then use Jaggeds into our Insight Crystals. Now there's a 1-to-1 conversion. So what does that mean as far as cost? Because lo and behold, Primo Crysts are your premium currency. So you have to use Primo Crysts to get additional outside of playing the game. So I need 160 Jaggeds for 1 single pull. So if I were to buy...
This is a minor thing, but something I hate is when they say double for the first time, but they don't tell you if it's double for the first time of each pack. So it's like, do I need to buy the 100 so I get the double in the first one? Because there's some deals where it's you spend $1 and you get the double, and then all the other doubles go away. And I feel like they do that on purpose, so that way they bait you into clicking the 100, and I hate stuff like that.
This one, now your first purchase, of course, gives you more, because how else are they going to hook you? This is, like, the psychological abusive tendencies of these games is just mind-boggling to me. And what bothers me about this game is they told you they weren't going to do it, and then they just absolutely did it, 100% did it. So if we pulled this one, and we didn't have the one-time purchase, this would be less than 2 pulls for $5. As we have it, we get a few more, but again, this is your first purchase. It's
monetization structure is sounding similar to the raid in terms of expense.
Pretty meaningless, given how many of these you'd actually need to buy to be, to make an impact. So you can expect $5 gets you less than 2. This one gives you, let's see, 160 to 320, 640. So this gives you about 6 pulls right here. So $15. You can get 6 pulls. And remember, you have a 1.5% chance of getting any legendary. So that means for every 100 pulls, you'd get 1.5 legendaries on average. So this is a terrible conversion for you. Like these are not good numbers. This is definitely going to get you to spend a whole lot of money. And again,
so what depends is some games are based upon the $100 purchase price, meaning the majority of the expenses and the economy pricing set in the game is based upon what they value crystals at per dollar at the $100 price point. What really matters is when we get to this pack portion. I'm curious to see what kind of packs they have, because some games, Raid comes into mind, you basically never buy the $100, you only buy the packs, and some packs can be quite good value, whereas some packs can be quite disgusting.
Best estimates are like on the top end, you can spend about $30,000 just fully maxing out your pets, which is an insane number. And exactly what
It's insane, but for mobile games, it's honestly not insane. Like I hate to say it like that because like saying just because it's a mobile game is a terrible logic, and I'm not defending it, but I'm saying as far as mobile games go, from what I've seen in terms of the average max cap expenditure, that's quite low. That's just a fact.
what we expected them not to do. Like all of their marketing was around this not being abusive and not taking advantage of players.
I think their marketing was terrible, if you ask me. I don't like their marketing, but I've already roasted that in the beginning.
And you can get all your gear and all your stats from playing the game, and you can't get it from buying. That's not true. Clearly it's not true, because there are stats right in these pets. That's what you want these pets for. They give you stats, and not just like rarity stats like increase your drops, but actual character stats like mana regen, extra damage taken, less damage taken. Like that's powerful. That's really powerful. -9%.
Well, here's the thing. You know how else I know this company is kind of scumbaggy? So when they contacted me on my emails, they had 2 different companies contact me, okay, to try to have me sponsor their thing. And I told one of the companies that somebody else was already contacting me. And after he had contacted me, I'm like, somebody else is now. I'm like, what's going on? Like, you have 2 people. And he said, that shouldn't be true because we have an exclusivity contract for their game. They shouldn't be allowed to have other people doing the marketing. And he was really upset by this because he's like, you shouldn't be getting contacted by anybody else. We own the market for advertising their game. So I'm under the impression that they're literally doing everything scumbaggy possible, is my initial impression from this game.
Percent extra damage taken is a very powerful node. So if you have to improve these through the pet system, and you can only realistically do that by spending money, well, that's definitely not what they told us. And a lot of us were really excited about this game because all of their marketing was so adamant that it would not be Diablo Immortal and it would be so much different. And it turns out it's exactly like it. And it's
here's the reason why. Diablo Immortal was a really big tag around the time they started their advertising. Diablo Immortal was getting talked about by literally everyone, so they were attempting to capitalize on the fact that you hate Diablo Immortal? Well, try us out. Like, that's effectively what their marketing slogan was, and it didn't matter to them whether they were telling the truth because, look, they didn't tell the truth to their literal business partners, and they have spam bots, like, promoting their shit. They don't care about slimy tactics.
Unfortunate. So there are 2 other systems here that I want to talk about. That's the worst one by far, but there is more to it. So back to the Boon System. This is also a new Shadow Revenge. Gives you legendary...
I'm just going to say this because I think I think this is a bad take. I think I have a bad take on this, and I'll just give you that. But like, I actually don't care that much about slimy marketing tactics if the game's good. Like, honestly, if I log into the game and I like the game, I don't really care what got me to the game. The reason I feel this way is I play games like Raid Shadow Legends and Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. And Star Wars Galaxy Heroes was my first mobile game I basically ever played. And I got on there from an ad. And the ad was more or less nothing like the game. To be fair, it just wasn't anything really like the game. And I just got it because it was Star Wars related, right? So somebody who hates Diablo Immortal, it's like, oh, this is a scumbag game, could literally download this game just because they're saying like it's the anti-Diablo Immortal. I get the marketing tactic. And then if they actually like the game, they could stay in it. I get what they were thinking, and it's up to you, the viewer, to decide whether or not you choose to like, okay, well, if that's what you're going to do to me, then, screw you. I won't download your game, which is effectively what they did to me, because I got mad at the way they were doing their slimy comments, which affected my channel, was spamming their comments, and I was just like, I'm not going to cover your game. Like, you're just not going to get it, and now I guess we're roasting them. So I guess I do actually care. Never mind.
Traits. So you can pull legendary traits. There are a couple of issues with this system. So let's first, what is the traits? What are the traits? So you get hero traits in this game. Every class has a hero trait. Like this one has Ice, Fire, Fusion, which does a bunch of stuff that basically just means, well, your Ice and Fire are stronger. And then as you level up in that system, you get additional benefits that you can choose. So these all just further improve the power up to 80. But there are legendary versions of these that you can't get from leveling from this tree here.
It's literally paywall.
That is where that pull system comes in. The Boon Shadow Revenge. It gives you legendary traits.
You know what sucks is games have gone from like you do a raid and there's a chance that the boss drops a reward to you do a raid and you get rewards and there's a chance that where you spin the rewards drop something. So the excitement goes from the immediate payout of like, I beat the boss, here we go, let's row for loot. Like WoW's coming to my mind with raids, okay, where it's like, holy shit, we downed him, and then you get your rewards, and it's a hype moment to this delayed moment of, oh, well, I downed the boss, so I got my PO currency for the day. And then you go into this shop, which is just a way cheesier way to do it. I kind of think the satisfaction level of like downing the boss and getting your loot there is way more exciting. Like personally, if they had bosses and stuff that give these pole loots, and they just had it like roll it right there, somehow like it pops up over the corpse of the boss and rows it for all the people or something, it'd be way more exciting. All I'm saying is you should get the loot when you kill the boss. In most of these games, I've played plenty of these games where it's not the way you go. You get some currency for killing a boss, and then you save it for a while, and then you wail when a banner comes out you like or whatever. And it's just a terrible way to play a game.
Right. Now, these cannot be acquired in-game at all. Unlike the pets, where technically you could someday get all of those if you just, farmed it up. Like, it'd probably take you 50 years or something, but you
literally not being able to acquire in the game is like our Awakening Echo and Diablo Immortal, is my personal opinion, the problem. Most of the games I've played where I look back after the years and was like, I was too harsh on that game. It wasn't as bad as I thought because I raged through the game a lot or whatever. Basically, all of those games had a way to acquire everything in the game free to play, and the ones that I'm still salty about did not have a way to acquire things in the in-game.
Technically could. You need fantasy crystals for this. Fantasy crystals, well, okay, we just converted over our insight crystals, right? Like, that was easy. Insight crystals to jagged Primo. Perfect. So we can still get those that way. Not the case here. So if you want fantasy crystals, you can only use Primo crysts. And again, Primo crysts are the ones you have to purchase and can only get from
yeah, so this is the common like scam where they say, oh, it's a free to play game, but then there's two currencies, and one of the currencies is premium only, and there's stuff locked behind premium only currency. That might piss me off more than almost anything. The Star Wars Galaxy Heroes had free crystals and premium crystals as well, and you could only use free crystals in some things, which for me was just a giant L. I feel this guy for this.
Purchasing. As far as I can tell, these don't ever drop in the game anywhere through any means that doesn't require money. So this is purely pay to win. There is no other way to win on this system. It is only pay to win to get these. Now, the devs have said, hey, those are balanced so that they're not actually any better than the ones you have. Well, if that's truly the case, then no one's going to want them. It's not the case. I guarantee you it's not the case. What these are going to do is they're going to change play styles. And for some builds, they're going to be the meta option. They're going to be your top tier option. It's going to be a legendary version that you need to have. That's pay to win. There's no way around that. That's pay to win. If you need a top tier option that's through this system, and you can only acquire it through this system by paying real money, you can only pay to win in this system. This is a terrible system.
I agree with his point here, which is that if you can use other traits or use other things that are not premium locked, like cash locked, then it's not such a big deal. If only one of the builds for your character is locked behind, even if it's like, better by 5% than the next best one. But if the ultimate best one, where it's like it's not close, is locked out to pay the win, that can very quickly make people upset.
It is so anti-player friendly. It is all about the money.
That's what happened with legendary gyms.
There's not a whole lot that I can do to defend them on this stuff, since they were so, like, the way they came out with their marketing was so strong in that we're not going to be like Immortal. And if they would have actually done that, the game itself feels good. Like, I like the game so far. They could have had an absolute hit on their hands, and ARPG fans could have been like, damn, this is how you do it. But instead, this is the opposite of how you do it. This is how you take advantage of your players. Now, another thing that they did...
Kind of interesting, after this, he says he likes the game. It's kind of how I feel about Diablo Immortal, which is like, I feel like the game is good. It's fun. There's problems with it, and the monetization is terrible. And you can't grind resonance, and the in-game probably could be better. Like, there's problems, but I still like the game. I'm getting the same vibe from him, where it's like, I like this game. I don't want to hate the game. I just don't like the monetization. That's what I'm hearing.
That was, this was definitely completely incorrect. Whether or not it was intentional or not, like, I'm not gonna, like, try to speculate about what's going on in the inner workings of XD, but I can tell you that they were very clear that there would be no seasonal, right? There'd be no seasonal track, there's no seasonal path, there's not any premium season. Well, what's this? This is a season. It's exactly like the seasonal, like if you think about like a seasonal rewards you get in Fortnite.
It literally says season.
or there's a track that's a free one and a premium one. Well,
It literally says season guide up here.
here's your free one, and here's your premium one right here. So if we unlock the Ultimate Handbook, there you go. $15, you can have your Ultimate Season Pass reward. For $20, you can even get some immediate points. So that's exactly the same kind of system that you would you expect in other games that do this sort of thing. They have it too. Now you might be like, well, maybe the premium, maybe that's only cosmetics. Because then, if that were the case, it wouldn't be pay to win. That'd be true. The free path is the one that all players have, and the premium one is the one you have to purchase.
Okay.
Well, you start off with an advanced auto pickup, or AUT-P pickup as they call it here, AUT-P pick, and that allows a pet of yours to just pick up all the loot for you. That's an efficiency gain. Now,
Okay, I'm sorry, but I've hated this since Maple Story as well. Like, having to purchase pets to do shit that's basic in-game quality of life absolutely triggers me. Like, why is there an item in the game where it's like, oh, you want to not have carpal tunnel? $100. Like, it's like, I'm not going to click on the gold on every goddamn character I kill. I'm not going to do it. Like, let me auto-pick stuff up. So stupid. Please come out with pets in Diablo Immortal that are free.
we can say that, well, that's quality of life, and that's fine. I'd be okay with you making that argument.
I'm not okay with that argument because, in my opinion, quality of life shouldn't be the thing that they charge. If they want to charge a premium for power, that is their prerogative because that's how these games have always been designed. Like, we're not under some interpretation. I guess we are with this game because they directly said they were, but we're not under an interpretation that these are balanced, fair, non-pay-to-win games. Like, everyone pretty much knows when they sign up for this, which I guess is the whole reason about why he's upset, because it's not supposed to be one of these. But in theory, selling power is where they make their money, right? Selling quality of life for me is an even bigger L than selling power. I mean, selling power is already an L. I'm not an apologist for this shit. I'll be honest with it. Okay, I have been always, but I actually don't agree that quality of life can be something that is an argument to be sold. I actually very heavily disagree with that. I think quality of life should be built into the game and constantly updated.
Because it doesn't matter. Because if you go further in there, you get Insight Crystal. Hey, that's your pull right there for your pets. There's a pet pull. Let's see what else we got in here. There's some resurrection type stuff.
Useless.
That is actually also for pet pulls. Yep, there you go. Pet pulls. I'm not even sure what. Oh, the regret points. That's
so they made a gotcha game.
That's pretty important. Maybe you want to say quality.
They made a gotcha game. Is basically what he's spending 60 minutes explaining. They made a gotcha game, which is correct.
Your life like stash tabs. Go for it, I guess, because you can't say it for this. You can't say it for this. This is very much pay to win. Like, you're going to get a huge benefit with your character, with your pets, by just investing in this system. You're $15 and then maxing it out. You get more than a free player does by a lot. Like, especially later on. Like, look how much stuff you get later.
Yeah,
that's the free tier, and that is the pay tier.
Wow.
And it's almost all pay tier at the end. So the whole game, the whole concept of this game, as far as XD was marketing it, was that you guys can actually get an ARPG.
That battle pass is worse than Diablo Immortal's.
That is both mobile and PC, that is not predatory, that will not have pay to win. And then they completely blew that out of the water and destroyed it in one closed beta test. And so if you're watching those YouTube videos, they're like, hey, not predatory. Just know that, as far as I can tell, those content creators...
So they made fun of Diablo Immortal, but then they did the same thing and added a bunch of pay to win after the beta.
Did not know this was going to be in there when they made those. They were paid to make those. You say what you want about paid advertisement from a company that's in beta, but they were paid to make those, and they had every reason to believe that what they were saying was true, and I don't think it's their fault that they said those things, and I think XD owes them a massive apology.
Completely agreed. So there is a lot of leniency that you sign away to the company when you sign these contracts. A lot of what I do when I sign contracts is I deny any right to basically put words in my mouth. I'm allowed to say what I want about the game. Sometimes they'll send a script, and if the script is something I'm not okay with saying, I'm just not going to say it. On top of it, they're not allowed to use my image. So a lot of times, companies like this will originally ask, hey, we also want the media rights imagery, which basically allows them to take, like, Darth Microtransaction loves our game with a thumb up and, like, put it on their Facebook page if they wanted to, stuff like that. I never give people these rights, even though some people argue that would grow your channel and you'll get exposure and all this shit. I actually just don't agree, because I actually think your image is worth probably the most out of all of your assets. Like if people think you're just a piece of shit sellout, they're not going to like you. And that's why kind of my sponsors are few and far between. I've done like one on this channel and like a dozen or something over the years in my main. Like there's not too many of these. Just one man's take.
For making them say that and then turning around and making the opposite true. And they need to do something about the system if they actually want to maintain any sort of, reputation at this point.
Because the other thing is, if you signed over those media rights, what he's saying here is like, if I made a video and signed over my media rights like they wanted, and then what I did was get paid for that video, and then they changed the game and they have my media rights, because a lot of times they went for like 3 months afterwards. After they changed the game, they could put words in my mouth in an ad. So they could have me be advertising the game like I love it after they've changed the entire game. They can do that. So shout out to small content creators. Don't sign that shit away.
Point, because this system is so far, in my opinion, from what they had said, and like their wording was pretty clear, that it's an L to me. Like it's an L with the community. The community's not going to be okay with it. It's the ARPG community that wants games that don't have this stuff, and started to play this game or wanted to play this game because they said it. They were completely bamboozled. This system is everything that we had feared it would be. So that's all I have to say on that. I just wanted to put out my 2 cents on it, since there's a lot of videos out there again that are incorrect, that the content creators really had their hands tied on that. My hands aren't tied. So here's the truth of what's going on, so you all know.
Shout out to you, bro. My hands aren't tied either. It's why I can kind of dunk on them a little bit. This is a bummer. He did a good job breaking this down, actually. Let's hear the last bit.
Don't like pay to win if you don't like pay for power. Stay away from Torchlight Infinite, because it is very much all of those things. Thank you for watching. Have a good day playing whatever it is you are playing. If you do not mind pay to win, maybe you're playing Torchlight Infinite, that's fine, because like I said, the game is without that would have been great. But there's lots of other ARPGs out there that you should be playing instead of this if you don't like pay to win. All right, guys, that's it for me. Thanks again.
Great big breakdown by McFluffin Gaming. I'm gonna put the link, like I said, in the description, as well as the pinned comment there. And well, can't say I'm surprised. I mean, I think as time goes on, it's going to be harder and harder to find games that aren't pay to win. I know Diablo 4 leaks and monetization. I haven't seen that yet, so I'm going to look into that as well. Probably cover that in another video. I am really hoping D4 is not pay to win, because it kind of seems like the next ARPG that won't. I did check out Undecember as well, so we're going to have a video review of me playing that demo coming out as well. Like the video, comment, subscribe, go support the original OG creator of that video as well, and we'll see you on the next one.